Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. We have a special guest with us today. She is one of our Level Up to Scale Up panelists, Laura Hulleman, who is the creator of the Endotype Formula. And she calls herself a powerful truth teller. She lives in Wisconsin with her two sons, and having been a solopreneur her whole life, she has made almost every mistake in the book. Girl, me too. A few years ago, she even thought about giving up on her dreams of business ownership and getting a job. Fortunately, though, she did not. And instead, she decided to rebuild her business, but this time differently, to build it for herself and around herself and based on her unique design. So I am so excited to learn more about the endotype that you speak of. So welcome, Laura, to our podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here.
Yay. Yeah.
Yes, welcome. I'm excited to share with our audience this new perspective that you have created. It's always exciting to hear from thought leaders to share with our audience. So this is going to be juicy.
Yeah. So my first question is, how did you discover this thing you call the endotype? How did you create this thing that you call the endotype? What the hell is it?
So the endotype formula, I like to say it was an idea that picked me. So I've always been a little obsessed with personalities and personality types. I owned a gym, a women's personal training studio, and was a life coach. And inside of that kind of environment, through the coaching programs I'd been introduced to, I knew DISC. You know, there's 4 quadrants, here's how it works. And that worked really well for me. Inside of my gym, I rented some space to a hairstylist. And we got talking about personality assessments. And I'm like, no, DISC is better. She's like, no, this one's better. And we're arguing back and forth. And together, because I was like, this is the problem I have with your favorite one. And she's like, this is the problem I have with yours. And we started to solve problems.
Ooh.
And where initially it was like, maybe we're fixing what's broken on some of these, it became clear that we were creating something new.
Yeah.
And at that point, right, the world of opportunity opened. And, you know, eventually her life took a left, but the idea wasn't complete. I didn't have the answers to the questions I wanted. With this new questionnaire and this new typing system, I typed the people in my gym, and I found out of a possible 16 different, what we now call endotypes, 3 of them paid me 80% of the income that I made in my gym. I was like, why do these 3 pay me and the other 13 do not stick around for very long? It became clear that there were certain body styles that went with these personality types. And I was like, why is that a thing? Like, because if we can figure out why that's a thing, man, that'd be handy inside my gym. And those questions weren't answered yet. So slowly over the course of years, the right research, the next right step, the next right researcher would come along. And I think the biggest right tool to it all was just to stay really curious. Mm-hmm. Like I just was super curious. And when I would hear something and I'd be like, oh, I think I know where that goes in my endotype. Like, does this play out across the board for all the endotypes? And it was, I call it my human Sudoku puzzle. You know, it's just being super curious and seeing whether or not, and there's some stuff, right, that it's like, no, that doesn't fit. Like there's not an overlap. There's other stuff that there's a lot of overlap. So it was really, really an inspired idea, a lot of patience, and a lot of curiosity.
Mm. Oh, that's fantastic. So with this curiosity and discovering and creating the Endotype program, did you find that you were able to affect your bottom line by having that additional information or insight into the different personalities?
Oh, for sure. For sure. You know, shortly after I really started working on the endotype, like, and really focusing on it, it was time for my gym to close. And just because of life circumstance, went through a divorce, wanted to be home more with my kids in the evenings, and the gym, that's when they needed me there. So closing the gym, hard decision, but the right decision. And not only, so then moved predominantly into the coaching arena instead of doing fitness coaching, more focusing on life coaching and utilizing the Endotype for that. Not only have I affected my bottom line, but it's one of the things that I do is I help coaches to be able to look at their Endotype and then find the matches to their ideal clients. Because there are certain things about our Endotype that naturally we just pour out of us. It energetically pours out of us. They're super easy. There are superpowers. And for our clients, they are their cravings. They are things that they crave, that they need. And so to me, the Endotype coach-client relationship looks like Legos, right? They're like Legos have an outie and an innie, and they just snap together. And so when you find the clients that you snap together with, you can then design all your marketing, design all your branding, design all your messaging to be able to attract more of them that you like to work with, that you can impact change with. And it's really transformative in the business arena.
Mm-hmm. So fascinating.
Yeah.
Paige and I have been really diving in a lot lately to personality types and stuff like that. I love 16 personalities. It's very fun. Paige is obsessed with the Enneagram, which is actually how we came up with the name, the 8338 Collective, is because we are yin and yang. So I am a 3 with an 8, and she is an 8 with a 3. And so that literally is how we used our Enneagrams to come up with the name of our combined company. So I'm really curious. I mean, there's so many personality types out there. Like you were saying, you've got Myers-Briggs, you've got DISC, you have Bank, you have this, you have that, blah, 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 right? And so I'm really curious, which Endotype do you identify with?
Sure. So I am, our Endotype names have three titles: the lonely adrenal interpreter. So the first word of your Endotype name is your red flag word. There's this word that's like when you're experiencing this inside, and for me, that word is lonely.
Uh-huh.
I either need to stop and reset, or I'm going to start making some pretty poor choices. That's your red flag word.
Okay.
The next word is your endocrine or body type that's associated with your Endotype. So for me, I'm an adrenal type. And the last word is the unique title that's unique to that Endotype. I'm the interpreter.
Okay.
There's other Endotypes that share that word lonely. There are other Endotypes that share the adrenal body type.
Uh-huh.
Interpreter is the unique title for my name, for my type.
Well, I want to share, since we both took the test, I want to share with you mine. And then I sent the screenshot to Paige and I said, how the hell does this person know me?
So well. She's like, I want to throw up. This is killing me.
So mine is the stubborn pineal clarifier. I don't know what pineal is, but the first sentence said the author Brene Brown often says clear is kind. And I said, what the fuck? Because I say that all the time to my clients when we're teaching. I always say clear is kind, talking about boundaries and like being able to ridiculous.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and Elaine is also Dare to Lead certified, so it was just so Brene Brown's program, it was just so funny because it was very much spot on with how she operates.
Because all y'all clarifiers love Brene Brown, and especially that clear is kind. That clear is kind.
Yep. Yep. Clarity. Yep. So Paige, tell everybody what yours was.
So my Endotype is angry, thymus, visionary.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Girl, why are you so angry?
No, that doesn't mean that Paige is angry. It doesn't mean that you are stubborn.
Yes, it does. I am stubborn. Let's just be clear. Like, it's okay. I know this about myself.
So now that you know that those are our endotypes, Laura, we are going to put you in the hot seat so you can kind of like fill us in on what we can learn more about ourselves and how we can work with you to learn more. Fill us all in.
Nice. Well, it totally makes sense that you're yin yang on the Enneagram too, because you're kind of yin yang on the Endotype Formula as well.
Okay.
So
that's consistent.
Consistency is key, right?
Yeah.
So you guys both are you fall into slightly different quadrants. Paige, you're falling into a quadrant where you are action first. So you're like, see a problem, solve a problem. Let's go. Let's do some stuff. And
you didn't lie. You know
right, me. Yes. And as you move through, that's when you start like, ooh, I know who this helps. Ooh, I know how I'm getting some energy on it. And then at the end, you're like, I know what this is. But until you're in the process of doing, you can't really get the whole concept, the whole thing, and see it completely clearly. Elaine, you're in a slightly different category. You start with why. Like Simon Sinek, start with why. He wrote his book for your type. He's your same endotype.
Yeah, he's definitely on my YouTube list. I listen.
Yes. Yeah. He's your same endotype. Because that first question of why is this important? Who's it going to help? How does this create change? Then you move into action. Yeah. And then you move into wisdom and energy. But the partnership of both of you guys having action very early on in your levels of thought creates a great partnership between you two. You guys are bringing different superpowers to the party. Paige is bringing more creating community. She wants everybody to feel like they belong. She wants to include people. She wants to have that. And also like, okay, we need to make this practical. We need to make this real time. And also bringing what I call the umbrella word for this concept is worth, right? Helping people to understand that they are inherently worthy. That they are inherently, oh yeah, baby, it's your superpower. Those are your two things that you can do, like a fish breathes in water, like a bird can fly. It is so easy for you to do. As the clarifier, Elaine, you're about love, heart connection, getting in there, really understanding who people are, and intuition. Oh, I know what this is. Oh, the picture I have in my head for you right now is this. Oh, the book quote that just popped into my head right now is this. You're coaching utilizing that intuition. And you guys are using different, very complementary styles, but using them as your superpowers. How does that resonate for you both?
Okay, so what you just described about Elaine is definitely her pop rocks, what we call pop rocks. She's like flipping out right now for those of you who can't see her on the podcast, because it literally is a fantastic representation of how she operates and how she supports people.
Yeah.
So my nickname is Elaine the Brain.
Yeah.
And I identify myself as an intuitive business coach because I utilize when I talk to people, like I get little messages, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I'm like, oh, this just copped. Oh, this reminds me of this and this and this and this. Oh my God, that is so.
So when you were saying a quote from a book or a quote from a person or this, that is definitely her. And what also resonates with me, Laura, is when you said practical. I am very much the step-by-step, A to Z. Let me show you the practical points of how you can apply this in your life and in your business. So that is definitely spot on.
Yeah.
So
good. I'm glad it resonates.
I know when I have a big idea for Paige and I I know I'm going to have to give her some time to overanalyze it for just a minute.
It's not overanalyzing, it's processing, because you are a fast thinker.
It is
called processing.
Yep. But I will say that having that personality type as my counterpart actually helps me to put on my life jacket before I jump, because otherwise I'll just jump and then I go, fuck, I should have put on my life jacket. So Paige offers me a life jacket before I jump into fast action, because that's just who I am. I've always done it that way. Oh, I got an idea. I got to make it happen right now. And Paige goes, hold on, let's think about this for a minute. And so having someone like that as my accountability partner, as my talk it out buddy, as my business partner, actually, like, I think that is why we get along so well, is that we literally are the opposites that attract to each other. It's what we both need from each other to help each other be our best selves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And because there's a big, so the thing is, so on the Endotype formula, I want you to think of like 8 different parts, or I'm sorry, 4 parts on one side, that's our protection side. And 4 parts on the other side, that's our possibility side. Our possibility side is where we pour out into the world. And our protective side is where we crave, where we receive, and what we need. The things that Paige is pouring out on her possibility side are some of the main cravings that you have. That's why it's this yin yang thing. And the same is true in opposite.
And vice versa.
Correct.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly right. So yeah, so when it comes to like, because the Endotype formula helps predict what a lot of people will call like the inner critic, the imposter syndrome, those kind of voices that sometimes show up in our head. It predicts where that is. And so for Elaine, yours is like, I gotta fix the problem for other people. I gotta go fix the problems. What's my value if I'm not? If I'm not out there helping people, what's my inherent value? And so the imposter syndrome will say things like, but then it will call into question whether or not you're prepared, right? Who do you think you are to think that you can step in and tell other people how to fix their stuff? You don't have all your stuff together yet.
Seriously.
Yeah. And that's where Paige has that pouring out on that side. Mm-hmm. Right. And so if you're sharing some of those ideas or sharing some of that inner dialogue, Paige is going to have a different kind of perspective on it that can just help reframe it and help calm those pieces down. And the same is true for her. Hers is like, you have intuition. Paige, you're very intuitive also. And sometimes that intuition, the vision that you see, you come at with a very forceful energy. Like it has to look this way. This is the way it looks in my head, and this is what we are going to do. We are not going to back off. This is because in your head, that's that parent voice too. That's like, who do you think you are? Telling other people that to have a vision and to put their boots on the ground, you don't have your vision all taken care, and it calls into question some of those pieces. I don't think those voices though, and that's what the Endotype formula has told me, those voices aren't bad. They have key, wonderful bits of information that they're trying to give to us by way of protection. We need to stop calling them terrible names so that we can form, because they're inside of us. By calling it imposter syndrome or our inner critic or our judgmental Pete, we're calling ourselves those names. Those voices are in our head for a reason. They have key information. We need to sit down, have some tea, and really hash some things out.
Did you see you must have saw my Instagram post yesterday.
I did not see your Instagram post yesterday. I'm sorry to say, but
oh my goodness, it was.
What? Are you stalking us?
I know. It was
but we're designed a certain way.
It was about what is something that someone said to you as a child, right? That you whether it was advice, whether it was positive or negative, that you still carry on with you today. And one of the things that I said was, the thing that I always remember from my mother was that some people may take this as negative, but from her, it wasn't coming as a negative thing, just as you just said, Laura, was she always told me, don't compete, beat. And it was, so some people may think, oh my God, that's awful that your mom would say that to you. But it was basically because she grew up in the 50s and 60s in the Jim Crow South in Alabama, and she didn't have the opportunities that I had. So she wanted to make sure that I always wanted to be the best, that I always pushed myself to to do the best that I could. And that was the language that she had in her toolbox to give me to say that, right? And so literally that was my post from yesterday on Instagram. So if you aren't following me on Instagram, please follow. Here's my page and Elaine herself. No, I'm kidding. I
do follow you on Instagram. I just wasn't on it yesterday. So I'll have to go back and take a look.
So it is so interesting that you say that. And I love that concept of not taking it as negative, that these are actually helpers, right? You just have to realize the best method to channel that assistance and the most productive way to get the outcome that you want to get.
Yeah, absolutely. The four pieces of us that are there for our protection, I think of it like four watchmen on a big, like castle, right? They're watching out for us all the time on the towers. Yeah. Exactly. They're the watchmen on the towers. And the way they communicate a lot of times, the way we feel it and interpret it is through fear. So all of a sudden, ooh, I have a fear, or I have a concern, I have anxiety, and our culture has taught us, right? Be fearless, you just shut that down. I don't think shut it down. I think ask it questions. I think okay, I'm feeling a certain way about this thing. What's the real message here? That's a question I ask myself all the time when and because I know how these pieces and parts work and what they're connected to now. Like my parent piece is connected to significance. So anytime I'm feeling a little less than, or I'm discounting what I want, or I'm discounting what I'm worth, I go, oh, yeah, I'll get feeling a certain way about it. And I got to go, okay, wait. Okay, this is about significance again. Okay, welcome back. Nice to have you at the party. What's the message this time? And knowing that, life becomes a whole lot easier, right? If we're just living how we're designed to live, not how somebody else is designed to live, life just becomes a lot easier. That's why I love the name of your podcast, Living Life by Design, man. Yes, that is it, period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So share with us how you've created this fantastic system and program. So talk to us a little bit about how you've created your life by design and not default. Share with us.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest example of that thus far, Elaine knows, I had my midlife breakdown. Spiritual awakening. That's what Brené Brown calls it all the time. I had my midlife breakthrough right around the time that I got divorced. I'm a single mom of 2 kids now, closed my gym, sold my home, moved to a condo, starting a new life, starting a new business. And in every other business that I had been in, remember, significance is a thing for me. And so underselling what I deserve, underselling what I need was a whole theme in my life. So I experienced burnout so easily in business because I'm just giving. My clients want me there at 4:30 in the morning. I'll be there at 4:30 in the morning. Doesn't matter whether or not I'm a morning person, but that's whatever.
Yeah.
You
mean 4:15? I know you.
Well, they were supposed to arrive at 5, so I got there at 4:30, but most of the time they were already waiting. And this time, building this business, it was to build it with me smack dab in the center of it. Like, it will bend to my will. I will design it so that I get the space that I need to go out. I live in a condo that's way out on a bluff in the middle of the woods, and I'm like 3 stories up. My deck is in the treetops. It's my treehouse. I need time sitting on my deck every day. I need time to go kayak with my kids. My business will support me and the life that I'm building. In addition to that, I no longer feel like I have to do everything, because although you and Elaine both fall into the what we call precise endotypes, detail oriented, you can see all the moving bits and pieces, you have a vision for what that looks like. I fall into what we call the relaxed endotype. I don't like spell check is my best friend, because I don't see all those details, nor do they really matter to me, but I understand they matter to my clients. So I bring on people who are skilled at detailed work to do the details. I stay in my lane, and I know what my job is in this business and what my job isn't.
Interesting.
That self-awareness piece is so important. I mean, so important. I think people skip over that, whether they are entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs working at a corporation. The self-awareness piece is just key.
Yeah.
So a question that we always ask on our podcast is, what is your motto? And so my motto, I have a motto that I live by. Elaine's motto changes with what season she's in, what project that she's, working on. So my motto is, I deserve to be here. I've walked through the fire. I've had lots of successes. I've had some challenges, but I deserve to be here right now in this time, in this space. What is your motto? And then we will ask Elaine to share what hers is this week.
I have to say I probably have 2. One I have lived with my whole life, because my mama told me I could be a tough girl, I could do whatever I wanted, and I could beat all the boys. So I'm a tough girl, and powerful enough to do what I want to do. I truly, like, in my bones, I believed that since I was very young. The other is, I have permission to be me.
Oh, I love
You
that.
have permission to be you. People need that right now, because they're so busy doing what the experts say and not doing things their own way.
Yep. So last week, was it last week or the week before? I can't even remember. I don't even remember what I did yesterday. I did was it a podcast? I don't even remember what the hell I did. But anyways, it was about giving myself permission to change my mind. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go, my motto that I'm living by right now is that I have permission to change my mind, because I always, like, if I said I was going to do something, then I did it. And then even if I hated it during the process, I was still going to do it. And I realized this when I was doing photography, I did it for 10 years. And I was, towards the end, I was looking for permission to get out of it. And I thought that I couldn't, because that's what everybody knew me for. And that was how I was, making an income. And what else am I going to do? And I was looking for permission from someone else instead of giving myself permission. And then when I gave myself permission, it set me up to give myself permission in other occasions as well. And so just recently, I was faced with a decision. Do I continue moving forward with something that's not really in alignment anymore, but it's what I've been doing, it's what's worked. And so I had to give myself permission to change my damn mind. And once I did that, everything just started falling into place. All of the pieces of the puzzle started working better, and it wasn't being forced anymore. And so I was like, you know what? I need to tell other people that you have permission to change your damn mind. If something is no longer in alignment, change your mind. Like, it's okay to say, this isn't working for me anymore, and figure out what will work for you.
Yeah.
So
renegotiate.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
The contracts that we make, the decisions we make aren't chiseled on rock, like we can renegotiate any of them.
Exactly.
We need something different.
Exactly. But once it became really more about what's making me happy, what's bringing me joy, and identifying when something is not anymore, that was really, I think, being able to let go of something that I did for 10 years has really set me up for a lot of lessons that have been coming up in the future, like all of the stuff that I've been dealing with. I'm like, oh, look at that. Okay, this is coming back around again. And so it always reminds me of, I share about this book all the time. It was like one of those Oprah Book Club books way back in the day, back when she had her show. And it was called If Life is a Game, These Are the Rules. And I always remembered that book because it just stuck out like a sore thumb. It was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense about how lessons will be repeated until learned, right?
Yes.
And so once you learn the lesson and it comes back around, you have the opportunity to do it differently this time. And I'm a firm believer of, you got to do something different in order to get a different result. Otherwise, you're just spinning on the hamster wheel, doing the same thing. Definition of insanity, so totally, like, all coming full circle all the time now.
Yeah. And those lessons usually come back around, related to that protective side when we're ready to level up again. When we're ready to grow and expand, when we're ready to take up a little bit more space in this world, we got to learn how to be that person then. Yeah. And it's the same stuff, because it's stuff that's already in our design. It's already inside of us that we have to kind of take care of.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love that. And speaking of leveling up, Laura is one of our fantastic panelists for our Level Up to Scale Up Summit experience that we're going to be having on May 21st and 22nd. So you can sign up for that. We have free tickets for general admission, as well as some VIP options available. You can find out all the information in the show notes. But besides having Laura do a masterclass for us and being a panelist, Laura, please share with everyone where they can find out more about you, because this conversation could go on forever. And but we would love for our audience to know where they can find you.
Yeah, I think the best place for them to find me and to find out more about the Endotype Formula is at my website, endotype.com. It's endotype.com. They can take the quiz right there. 5 questions, takes less than 5 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, like, you guys got great results. You guys got your results, right? And the whole purpose of that quiz, right, is not to box people in, but to give them permission to be who they are, learn some new stuff about you and how you operate. The other place that they can find me is on Facebook. That's generally my platform of choice. So if you look up Endotype Formula on Facebook, you can find me there too.
Yeah. So what is your, what's your BHAG with this? Like, what is the thing that you are hoping that will come out of this Endotype Formula? How do you want to impact the world with it?
Global domination? Is that too big?
No, it's not too big. And I see that.
Yes. I
will co-sign on that, Laura.
Nice. Right now, so I understand that my role in this company, again, living life by my design, right? My role is to stay in this space of research, to stay with the idea, to continue to develop the tool. And then I look to collaborate and co-create with other action-oriented, forward-focused people who have a big mission and who may just need a tool to help them get there. So whether it is, right now I'm co-creating with a couple of different people on Endotype branding. utilizing that quiz and being able to pinpoint your brand within a relatively short conversation, understand who those ideal clients are, and then build that all out. I'm looking for those co-creators so that all the different branches, I mean, I think Endotype Formula needs to be a dating app. I think Endotype Formula needs to be a client and coach connection app or program. There's so many things that it does. So I partner with the people who have that stamina, have that energy, have that expertise in their own arena. So I don't have to become the expert in everything. I'm just going to be the expert in this tool.
My pop rocks are going off.
Woohoo!
I was like, oh shit, here they come.
Of course they are.
Of course they are. That's what happens though. Yeah, like, oh my gosh, we need to talk because I'm having some pop rocks.
Cool. I love it. I love co-creation. I love collaboration. I'm working on a number of them right now. And that way everybody, it's a win for everybody. It's a win for everybody. And the tool gets out there, because ultimately the thing that gets me up in the morning, right, is I know how free people can feel when they are integrated, when they are working according to their design, when their life is lined up, when they understand what those voices in their head are trying to tell them. I know what that freedom feels like because I experience it. I want everyone to be, like best case scenario, right? I want everybody to have that kind of freedom and healing. And it comes in all different forms. Sometimes it looks like business, sometimes relationships, sometimes coaching. And so like third quarter, fourth quarter of this year, I'm working right now on the academy where I'm going to bring people in and teach them the entire Endotype system, not just bits and pieces that they need to know for their business or who their ideal clients are right now. That's something I offer currently. But this is for the people that need to know it all for those big collaborations that I want to create and generate going forward.
That's awesome.
I love it. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, when is the best-selling book coming out?
Oh, January 2nd, by the way.
Yay!
Love it.
So we are working on, myself and another collaborator are working on a book right now. The working title, which may change, is Walk a Mile in Your Own Shoes. It's stories of it's stories of women who decided they were going to do it their own way. That life transforming moment when they stopped listening to all the experts and all the authoritarians and all the other people, and they started doing stuff their way. And we're going to working with them so there's a coaching program built in with this authorship also, because we're going to tease out the endotype bits of their story, and then include that in their author bio, right? This is Laura Hulleman. She's an interpreter. So that when people are reading the book, because this is my challenge, right? With some of the other anthologies that are out there, it's like, oh, I should be more like Elaine. I can't be more like Elaine. I got to be more like Laura. I got to be more like my endotype. So people can read it and get a sense of what all the endotypes are about and find and resonate with that. And I think there's, now that I found a way to write the books from the perspective of the individual, anthologies are going to be such a part of the plan going forward, right? Because I can't with authority say, Elaine thinks like this. Right. I know her formula, but I've never lived a day inside your life. So letting people write it from their own perspective. I think the next one that I'm going to be working on is endotype leadership and 16 different types of leaders, endotype leaders, talking about how they lead from their own perspective. Giving people that permission to lead their own way, because that's what's preventing people from stepping up into leadership is they think they have to do it my way or your way or somebody else's way, and they don't know how to do it their own way.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, so juicy. Girl, I am so happy that you are sharing with us today. And once again, you can go to endotype.com to find out more information, take the quiz, find out where Laura is speaking, as she speaks all across the country as well as virtually. She will also be speaking at our Level Up to Scale Up Summit experience, May 21st to 22nd. And so we are so honored that you decided to spend some time with us today.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm super excited.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was really, really fun. Really fun.
Yeah, had a blast.
All right, everybody. Have a super fantastic day, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.